Look at these humongous snowflakes that are falling. Oh my flipping goodness. Hello guys. Welcome back to my channel. So, I really love reading Christmas stories, and I just love the vibe of people in the snow buying their presents and all that stuff. But most of the time during the holidays, I am so busy that I really don't get a chance to read Christmas stories. And I don't like reading Christmas stories like before November or after December. Like I might read one in January, but that's like the cutoff time for me to read Christmas stories. So today I'm going to be reading Christmas stories for 24 hours. And I'm going to see how far I can get. And I am not going to be canceling my regular obligations. So tomorrow I have to make cookies because December is my cookie month where I bake cookies every week, and I need to make a new batch of cookies tomorrow. So it's going to be a challenge making sure I do all the things and read at the same time. So these are the 4 books I have. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to be reading first, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. It is one of my favorite stories ever. And this next one is, I think it's a bunch of short stories. Yeah, it's definitely a bunch of short stories. So I'm going to see how far I can get into this one. And then we have Mr. Miracle by Debbie McCalmer. My daughter started reading this. She really wants to read it. So I'm not going to read this tonight. I'll probably read it tomorrow because I'm going to let her read more of it. She's really enjoying it so far. So that's exciting. And then lastly, I have Christmas in Cedar Cove by Debbie McCalmer. So I'm really excited about this because I'm finally going to read some Christmas stories and do a little vlogmas. So let's get started. Hello. It's around 2 a.m. So I read this Christmas Carol. And I don't think anyone doesn't know what it's about. But this man named Scrooge was not a good guy. And so his old partner, who was dead, came as a ghost and told him, "You're going to be visited by 3 spirits. They're going to make you a better person," basically. That's what this is about. I love this story. I think this is the first time I've actually read the whole book. I started reading it a few years ago. I don't know if I think I only got halfway through. I don't know what happened, why I didn't finish it. But, then I lost it for like a couple years. And I found it, I think, last year. So, anyway, I finally read it, the whole thing. But I watched the movies. There's millions of movies. And so I started reading the first book, which is The Heiress and the Hothead by Sabrina Jeffries. It takes place in, it says Walton Hall, Hertfordshire, but it's in England, and it says December 19th, 1829. So I want to make sure I have the names right. So Lord Stephen is basically a reporter, and he writes articles about mills and how the people who work there are treated. And he goes to this Christmas party, I guess. He wants to interview one of the owners. And he stands under mistletoe, and this lady stands under mistletoe, and supposedly he thinks he knows who it is, so he just randomly kisses her. And then he discovers it's not the lady that he thought it was. It was one of the owners of the mill. And so he became very embarrassed, but also he thought she was stunningly beautiful and he enjoyed the kiss. So he wanted to pursue her. And she basically thought the same thing. He's stunning, but she doesn't like that he's a reporter for the mills. And she basically says he makes up stories about the mills because he wants them to look bad, which is interesting. And of course, because both of them think they're so gorgeous, they like can't keep their lips off each other. So that's the first half of the story. But since it's around 2 a.m., I'm going to get a few hours of sleep because I am not one of those all-nighter people anymore. And we'll see what I do in a few hours. Good morning. So I woke up at 7:45, made some coffee, took my butter out for my cookies. This little one just woke up. And I read some more of this, what is it called? I already forgot. The Heiress and the Hothead. And not much happened, but they shared a very passionate moment. And then, of course, what's her name? I keep forgetting her name. I think it's Amanda. Yeah. She basically said if they continue, they're going to have to get married. And that started a huge fight because she's from America. She wants to live in America. He's from England. He wants to live in England. And so it ended very abruptly. And basically they haven't spoken since. And his brother is basically telling him, because he can tell that they shared a moment at some point. He is telling, his brother's telling him, you should try to get back with her because you obviously love her. So that's that. But now I'm going to get dressed and make some breakfast. Here I have some pork loin and some scrambled eggs cooking, and I have potatoes in the oven. Here we have it, some eggs and potatoes. So I needed to catch up on our Advent book. And so now we're going to do today, which is the 18th. Here it is. Yep. Gingerbreads. We did gingerbread cookies last week. So let's see if I can find the page. With warm, fragrant spices and colorful icing, it's easy to see why gingerbread is a holiday favorite around the world. Today we bake gingerbread cookies and cupcakes and learn a little bit about the long history of celebrating Christmas with gingerbread. And then it has some jokes. Why did the gingerbread man go to the doctor? He was feeling crummy. Gingerbread man: Doctor, my knee is sore. What should I do? Doctor: have you tried icing it? What does a gingerbread man put on his bed? Cookie sheets. Alright, so they have a whole recipe for making gingerbread cookies. We're not doing that today. We're making different cookies today. Oh, my sis. She loves playing with books. Okay, let's see what this one is. Gingerbread cupcakes. Ooh, cream cheese frosting. Let's see. Yeah, it's basically a typical recipe. They're cute. Oh, there's a story. You want to read the story? The Ginger People of the North Pole. Look at how cute. There were little-known people in a cold, wintry land who run and run as fast as they can. They laugh and skip and cheer all day because that's the Ginger People way. They have gumdrops, buttons on their icing clothes, and glittery sugar on their little cookie toes. While these funny folk may dance and tumble, they never have been known to crumble. While elves make toys that are just dandy, who do you think makes the Christmas candy? The ginger people can make any sweet, but candy canes are their most special treat. So next time you hope for something yummy, like jelly beans or chewy taffy in your tummy, your ginger friends will make something nice for you, and all your candy wishes will come true. All right, baby, we gotta turn the page. Oh, it's a short story. The History of Gingerbread. You like the little ginger people? People started making gingerbread houses in Germany in the 1500s. So I finished The Heiress and the Hothead, and it ended how you would expect it to. I tried reading the rest of the stories. So let's see. The second one was 12 Kisses to Midnight by Karen Hawkins. And it's basically about a prince, and I had no interest in reading it. And then the next one is called By Any Other Name. And this girl dresses up like a boy, and she heads to, what do they call it? It's called a gambling den. I was going to call it a, what was I going to call it? It doesn't matter. But anyway, so she is trying to find her brother, and she has a lot to drink, and she does some gambling, and she smokes a cigar. And then she realizes she's going to be sick, so she has to leave. So she walks out the door, and all of a sudden she gets mugged. And then it goes to Gregory. He notices this young lad, but the young lad's voice, or I should say his laughter, sounds a little more high-pitched than a man's normally would, so it kind of confuses him. And I don't know, he just feels weird about him, so he follows him out the door, and then he sees there's two men in a struggle. So he calls out, and the guy who's mugging Ryla takes off, and she goes, "He hit me," or something like that. And then she passes out. So Gregory takes her back to his apartment, and she wakes up and then realizes that she has cuts on her clothing. And so Gregory starts taking her clothes off and realizes she's a woman. And of course, they're attracted to each other, and they kiss and whatever. And she says she has to go home, and he wants to know her name. That's probably why the book is called By Any Other Name. But she won't tell him her name. And so she decides she wants to go home. She's going to go by herself, and then she decides, no, he can go with me. But she doesn't want him to know where she lives either. So anyways, I don't know. I'm just not interested. And it's not even talking about Christmas. Like, where's the Christmas? Like, at least the mistletoe one, the Heiress and the Hothead, they kept talking about mistletoe, and finally it was Christmas Eve, you know? And then, so, the last story, The Sweetest Regret by Meredith Duran. I honestly couldn't even tell you what it's about because my mind decided to wander. And so all I know is I'm not interested. I will be giving this book away as soon as I give donations out because I'm done. I'm done trying to read this book. I've had this book for years. One story's okay. I'm sure the rest are great stories. I just have no interest, and I'm only reading for 24 hours. I got limited time, so I'm gonna start a new book. But I think I'm gonna start my cookies first. Gonna cream my butter. It's actually margarine. I'm using margarine today. So it says 1.5 cups of brown sugar and 3/4 cup of white sugar. I make my own brown sugar by adding molasses. I probably added too much. Usually you add a tablespoon per cup. Okay, so I've stirred in 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and I have 3 eggs. So I put 3 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of cocoa powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm mixing this all up. So I'm going to gradually add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients and mix it all up. It's almost all mixed. It smells amazing. Alright, so I use basically a tablespoon of dough. And I'm going to cook these at 350 for about 10 minutes. So apparently the first batch I made too many for the tray. So this first batch turned out to be a complete disaster. They stuck like glue to the wax paper, and I don't think I have any more parchment paper. So I'm going to try spraying the pan by itself and just make the cookies on the pan and see what happens. I made the cookies smaller and put less on the pan, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to try these for 8 minutes. Here's the second batch. Let's see if they come off the pan easier. So they came off nice and easy, but I really don't like how thin they are. So I'm going to add more flour and baking powder, baking soda, and see if that helps. Okay, we may be getting somewhere with these ones. Now to see if I can get them out of the pan. These came off so quick and easy, and they still look like cookies. We may be in business. So we did a taste test, and this batch that I just made are perfect. The last batch were crunchy and thin. These ones are just perfect cookie texture. So I'm going to just continue making all of this. Relina tried to help me for a little bit, so the next batch of cookies are going to be different sizes. These are the ones Relina helped me with. They actually don't look too much different. Hello, everybody. It has been 24 hours. And I will show you how much I read. I read basically half this book. And it turns out this is 2 stories. The story I read is called, I think, 5B Poppy Lane. Yeah. Basically, Ruth sent a Christmas card to a soldier over in Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever. And he wrote back and he wanted her to keep writing letters. And at first she didn't want to because she doesn't want a relationship with someone in the military. But she basically fell for him. And then they ended up meeting. And so that's what that story's about. And I guess the only thing that has to do with Christmas is the fact that she sent the Christmas card and that's how they met in the first place. But, yeah, I guess that's it. So, I'm not going to read the other book just because my daughter's reading it and she's really enjoying it. And I've probably read it before. So, just those 3 books. And I think I would say I probably like this one the most. Well, I mean, of course I like The Christmas Carol, but out of the other books that I read, the, whatever that other book was, the Mistletoe book, I like that one better, this one better. But anyway, so that concludes my video. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Say bye-bye. You don't want to say bye-bye. I love you.